Eliminator World Championships from Barcelona in Spain with me, Emma Martin.
And me, Matt Payne.
Well, the Barcelona World Championships are opening the MTB Eliminator season this year, and both defending world champions, Sukapalova and Lind, are here. But what
hey guys, we are
a
the World
battle
Championship
they are going to face today.
For the XCE. I am Justin.
I'm Isor.
And we are the French team, and we go for track preview.
So let's head out on the track here. This start straight really critical to get into this first turn. And in Barcelona, you're only a hop, skip and a jump away from some really exciting action. Here it's a hop, 2 stairs and 3 jumps away from a potential medal-winning ride, because we have a number of obstacles out here. Not just our wooden jumps that we've just seen our riders go over, but also we've got the metal jump, we've got the log hop, which is at speed, literally a 2-wheel lift. And for me, this course is all about positioning early. This straight in particular, the second of the long straights out and around the park side here, is going to be really key as you go into the log hop, because it sets you up for our next obstacles. And Emma, whilst it's about positioning, it's also about getting your bike around.
It is indeed. The descent steps at the start and the ascent steps at the end. We do see a lot of technical, mechanical issues, and it's about holding that position, watching what you're doing, but utilising these places for positioning as well, and getting the bike around.
So get the bike around in one piece, and we have seen broken bikes already, and then lining up for this finishing straight. And as you can see, it's still a decent distance to that finish line for potential overtakes. 2
laps today of that course, and I think we're going to see some strategy and positioning take place during those 2 laps, and it's going to be interesting to see the tactics that the different riders choose. Well, earlier on, the individual time trial gridded the riders, and we can just go in and watch some of the highlights of that action from earlier. In the women's individual time trial, Pernica was the surprise winner. She put in some great performances last year, but she topped the tree today on that individual time trial and is gridded in first place, ahead of 5-time world champion Gaia Tormena. Maria Sukapalova, the defending world champion, coming in placing 6th in that time trial today. Well, 1.5 seconds separated our top 7 riders in the women's event earlier on during gridding. The riders now progressing through to the quarterfinals, where in true Eliminator fashion, Matt, it's the fastest 2 riders go through, the slowest 2 go out.
It is, and it's all about the 2s. In qualifying, it's about being on your own, 1 rider, 1 lap. That sets that time. 2 riders go through, 2 riders eliminated till we get until our finals. This is going to be really critical now. It's all about being rider 1 or 2.
Well, lining up for the first of our quarter-final heats today, you can see the riders down in the start pen, about to get 15 seconds to go. Well, out they go. Short hold today. Becker versus Espinosa, Pernica and Philibert of France, the 4 riders in heat number 1.
And Pernica leading out down into this descent. You can see the cones installed on the inside just to tighten that line up a little bit earlier for the riders in the preparation for this wooden jump. And on lap 1, we see a lot more tactical racing from those riders in 2nd and 3rd place, potentially just saving energy. At the moment, though, in this quarter-final, you can see Pernica leading out at the moment. She's got that gap and really has driven on hard here. It's the French rider behind Philibert who's lucky to make that move to try and come up alongside, and you can see the distance that's been opened up here behind her. You can see that Becker really struggling with the pace of our 2 leaders.
Well, Pernica took 3rd place, took that bronze medal in the European Championships last year. She didn't race the World Championships in 2025, and she's come out here in Barcelona on storming form. And Matt, that is one of the things. It's a blind World Championships this year because it's ahead of the World Cup season. These riders have not raced each other yet, and they don't know each other's form.
They don't, and with not knowing the form of the riders in terms of pace, and also not knowing who's going to come strong later, and that for me is one of these key things. We've got to race repeatedly. You've got to race in those qualifiers. You've got to get the course practice in, which is all putting laps in on this course. Then we go into the quarterfinals, into the semi-finals, 2 laps of each of those, and it's all about getting that drive then forwards as you make your way through. getting the performance down, but not expending too much energy. Pernica at the moment looking super strong. Long look over the shoulder there behind from Philibert, looking to make sure she does enough to qualify, but not get caught. And at the moment, it's all looking safe, keeping those bikes under control. The metal jump there, one of the new additions to the course, has come sweeping around the square here. Straight line over the top of that jump before coming into the steps for Pernica, and this really now is just ride safe, ride smooth. Do not overcommit to these steps, which if you go too hard in, you scrub all your speed because you will land almost on the face of that upper step. Pernica, super smooth, looking good. This is the performance that says quarterfinals, tick, no problem. Bring on the semi-finals.
Yes, well, the competition is going to be a lot hotter in the semis than the quarters, but Adela Kopernika goes through for Czechia. Lois Philibert will go through as well into those semi-finals from France. Aziz Bakar going out in that round. We drop back down for the next heat, which is indeed lining up as we watch the highlights of heat number 1.
So you can see that start by Pernica there, just really strong out, gets that lead, gets the line, gets to choose how fast the race goes, used it fully behind. Philibert using less energy, just a little bit more conservative in that application of energy, in that delivery, and whilst you can do that now, you can't do that later.
Well, you can see the 15-second board being given in this heat. Scherstiuk of the Ukraine, Boissier of France, Borrelli of France, and Orovets of Hungary lining up for heat 2.
Now, Boissier had an explosive start out. She really showed her intention in the time trial. She came through. She was the first rider to go sub 1 minute 7 seconds. She went 1 minute and 5 seconds and absolutely set the new benchmark. It meant that when she came through with that 4th fastest time ahead of the countrywoman Borrelli, who's immediately behind. And at the moment, they are really putting the pressure on Maria Scherstiuk. Scherstiuk, one of the riders here who's been a previous medalist. There's 5 previous medalists here. One of them, Scherstiuk, stuck in 3rd place and needs to move up to go through.
Well, she does. She was the bronze medal winner in Sakarya last year, where the World Championships were, and that was one of her showstoppers of the year. She didn't quite hold that form for the World Cups, but she had an absolutely storming day at the World Championships in 2025. Can she progress through for 2026? She's got some work to do here on lap number 2.
So here we go, up onto the banking. Boissier leading this out at the moment. Right behind her, Margot Borrelli. Behind Madison Boissier goes around that right-hand turn. Look over the shoulder by the rider in 2nd place there. And that's Borrelli. She knows she doesn't want to be pulled back. And these 2 French riders have to focus on going smooth now. Not getting mechanical, but also not leaving the door open. Not backing off too much to put Scherstiuk in with a chance of making a move on one of these long straights. The rider's scrubbing speed. If you go too hard into any of these jumps, you can over jump them. And mountain biking is all about control. It's not just about flat out speed. It doesn't matter what discipline you're riding, whether that is the shortest discipline or whether it's the longest discipline within mountain biking, whether you're riding marathon or downhill, cross country, Olympic, short track or XE, the Eliminator. You need to make sure that you don't go too fast as well as going too slow, because it can cause issues. Now, you just see that move there made by Borrelli, goes over the top of Boissier, takes the lead, doesn't want to be in that vulnerable 2nd position. It's going to push her through, potentially as the winner of this heat, as the riders go over the top, that penultimate obstacle, that is the wooden jump onto the wooden ramps that coat the steps here into the square. Right-hand turn, I don't think these 2 will be fighting it out for position. It's just about getting across the line, make sure that they spin down here. Boissier just pushes on those pedals. She will go through underneath the gantry first there. Out of the 2 French riders through. Scherstiuk into 3rd place.
Yeah, so Boissier and Borrelli, the 2 French riders from heat number 2, will progress to the semi-finals. Maria Scherstiuk, who took the bronze medal last year, not progressing this year. Neither is Orovets.
Oravets's start there, she was just pushed into that 4th place position, and from there it's very difficult for her to make ground and to move up. Kirsty always looking for a potential opportunity, I think, but she just didn't have that pace. The French really have come here in some serious strength. 5 riders coming through the time trial for the French into our quarterfinals.
Well, the next heat lining up is absolutely packed. Gaia Tormena, the Italian 5-times world champion, is here. Marion Fromberger, the German rider who won the World Cup last year. They are in with Amandine Vidon of France and Amparo Llorets of Spain.
Tormena, the multi-time world champion, leads them out in that Azzurro blue, but look at this, diving up on the inside, elbows out ready. Vidon looking very strong here. Tormena down on the inside already. They're exchanging places. Tormena likes to lead from the front. She doesn't like to have to work behind. She's got some great speed. She's been riding really strongly on the road this season. She's done some fantastic road races which have built up that stamina and endurance. Comes from a track background, but of course she really did find her feet within the XCE. Multi-time medalist, a 5-time world champion, leading this race out at the moment and at the front where she wants to be. Injury derailed the plans last year. This year, it looks like she's back to her best. And Barcelona's not always been the happiest of hunting grounds for Tormena, but at the moment, certainly looking like she's going to go through this reasonably smoothly. Don't want to put a commentator's curse on that coming into this turn here. Behind the battle for that 2nd position. It's not too close at the moment. Vidon's initial move, they're very, very strong indeed. And Marion Fromberger, who's another of our previous medalists, not in the mix.
Well, Fromberger, as I said, took the World Cup last year, and coming into the World Championship straight off this season. Vidon, the young French rider, was 2nd in the national championships to Azur Mede. So strong in this discipline, but Tormena absolutely showing from the gun that she is on form this year, and she means business.
So you can see that long look across from Gaia Tormena. She looks across our left to her right as they came through. Then you can see coming up over the top, you've got the 2nd rider here. That's Vidon. Fromberger at the moment was dispatched down into 4th place here. Not on the same sort of form that has seen her been such a force to be reckoned with across all of the World Cups. The Mountainbike Eliminator World Cup heading out and around the globe. One of the real superstars has been Fromberger. She was regularly up against Gaia Tormena. Tormena already shutting down the throttle there. She's cruising around that right-hand turn. She knows she's secure. She's going through. So will Amandine Vidon. Amandine Vidon coming through in 2nd place to clear qualifiers in heat number 3, the 3rd of our quarterfinals.
Yeah, Marion Fromberger in all sorts of bother during that qualifier, but she's back up and she's on the bike and coming in over the line. Amparo Llorets coming through just ahead of her. Those 2 riders will not progress, but Gaia Tormena and Amandine Vidon will indeed progress to the semi-finals.
I was just taking a look from that start line, and I think there was an issue with the chain, an issue with the drive there for Fromberger. I'm just taking a little bit of a look back. She came over that jump that time around. She was in 3rd position, so she cleared that. And it may well be that on the steps, that gear issue that saw her not get that great start also then affected her on the climb, because as they came through into 4th position.
Well, the 4th and final quarter-final is Azur Mede from France, Didi de Vries of the Netherlands, Maria Sukapolova, the defending champion from the Ukraine, and Anera Arteaga from Spain.
Med, the former world champion with 2 silver medals to her name, up against Sukapolova, defending champion in the blue and yellow, comes round on that wide line on the outside. They're all having to give best at the moment to Didi de Vries in the orange of the Netherlands. So it's de Vries followed by Sukapolova, followed by Med, and then it's going to be Arteaga who comes through currently in 4th wheel. De Vries really kicking down strongly. They're wanting to establish an early gap. Difficult to do when you're up against face this level of competition. It is fractions of a millimetre to get these lines right and hold position. Get them wrong, and you will drift out. The barrier feet, that's the edge of the course, is all these obstacles. Got this log hop. It seems simple, but these are the world's best riders going over that, making it look easy. You or I ride into that, we're probably going to be cuddling the floor very quickly indeed. And the battle starting to develop in that third and fourth place spot here. Very interesting closing up here. The pace of De Vries is not enough to pull clear the leading two. De Vries is going to lead up on here. Sukabalova comes up. She's going to be on the inside of this corner, and it's a real tight corner there. A little bit of a brake check almost there. Having to go on from Sukabalova. It's put her back into the grips of Med at the moment, who's in third place. De Vries goes round that, but the squeeze was on. Shoulder contact is allowed. You're not allowed to deliberately push somebody, but you can bounce off each other. And at the moment, it's tight at the top, less than seconds separating the first two. And between all those riders, this could be anybody's. De Vries going hard here.
Well, it's great to see Gigi De Vries holding this momentum into lap 2. Last year, she went out hard in every single race. She made the final every single World Cup. She took 4th place in the finals at the World Championships last year, and I know this year she is going to want to be on that podium.
Quite surprised when I was doing the research. I was looking through thinking, surely De Vries has had a medal. Over all these years of talking about the mountain biking eliminator, De Vries has been one of those constants there, right up in the mix, but never yet getting a medal. Is today going to be a day? She needs to come through this quarterfinals into the semi-finals and then progress. She's got the defending world champion on her heels as they come up here. And again, another issue for Sukabalova. She needs to get that down when she goes through to the semi-finals. So long as she makes it through, she lost so much momentum. You can see how critical those stairs are. De Vries is going to go through, and when it's going to be Sukabalova into close behind Med, the former champion, in third, and then that 4th place for Arteaga.
Well, the French national champion not progressing to the semi-finals as Med. She took 2nd place in the silver medal in the World Championships last year, and at the quarter-finals for 2026, she will not progress. Arteaga, the Spanish rider, the other rider not progressing there. De Vries and Sukabalova going through from the final quarters.
Well, that's a start there, very reminiscent of a Puck Pietersy start, really flat, low on the bars here. The Netherlands having a really strong history in the racing here. De Vries is continuing on from a previous medal for Van Empel here in the World Championships a little way back in the history books, and De Vries at the moment looking like she's got that kind of form that's going to carry her through. Sukabalova must try harder, must do better. That's not going to get you a medal if you go taking those kind of errors into the finals.
Well, Ponica and Philibert going through from qualifier heat 1, Boissier and Borrelli heat 2, Tormena and Vidon heat 3, and De Vries and Sukabalova going through from heat 4. Those are the women going through to the semi-finals of the World Championships for 2026. Well, next up we are going to go in with the men. These are the highlights of the 8th finals that we saw in Barcelona before we came on air today. The individual time trial. Klemenchek, the World Cup leader from last year, setting the fastest time on the individual time trial, followed by Kraus. They went through to the 8th finals, where the Swedish national champion Olsen went out.
So Olsen going out at that stage, Lind defending champion going through. You can see the start list here for the titles. Defending champion Lind going in the 4th of those. Previous champion Simon Gegenheimer in the same one. You've got Scar in there, previous medalist. You've got Tito and Perrin Gagne. Heat 3 for me. It's going to be very hard based on what we saw in those 8th finals.
Yeah, it is indeed. And of course, 3 previous world champions in this men's race. Jakub Klemenchek in 1, Carrasco in 2, Kassersted in 3, Wall in 4. First heat is now over.
So here we go. This is a chance to get through. If you can get that power down, you can see that big kick off from the line. Kastelstedt, the Swede, in that blue and yellow, leading them out down, but Klemenchik in that green, right onto his heels. Spanish rider right up close and personal as well, and there's not a lot to choose between them. You can see each time they come into these obstacles, it's each of these features. If you get in there with a clean line, you've got a clean run through. Get that wrong, there's very little room for manoeuvre. That is one of the more straightforward, simplest landings as we go further through. How you land, how you transfer that power upon landing, and how you line up for that next obstacle. It's being set up move after move. You can see that little check over the shoulder. Kastelstedt looking to see if everybody's there. They are. He'll know that. He'll know exactly where they are. Cuts across, diagonal line, sliding, turning inward over the top of that wooden jump, up on to the banking. This is a close one, and now move goes up the inside by Klemenchik, but he's going to get squeezed back out again. He went in, out, in, and he didn't get that position. He hasn't moved up, and he's still under pressure. Now he moves up the inside. Kastelstedt sees first position. He lets the door get pushed open by Klemenchik. He didn't try and hold him back there, and now Klemenchik leading as they come down into this first obstacle. You cannot brake check in the rules. You cannot deliberately slow a rider down by brake checking them and slowing it down in front, but you can slow down to take a safe line. A very, very fine distinction. At the moment, Klemenchik looking good, keeping that power down as he comes out the corner at the right time. Too much power too soon. That back wheel's going sliding. Klemenchik up over this hob. He's going to come round. Klemenchik's looking like he's back on the form, the best form we've seen, Emma.
Well, I tell you, he's got unfinished business with the World Championships. He's won the World Cup, he's won the European Championships. This is one he hasn't won. In 2025, he finished 8th. He only made the small final, and to me, this is absolute intention, Matt. This is, I'm here, this is my day, and Lind is going to have to work really hard if he wants to defend his title, and so is everybody else, because Jakub Klemenchik is on form.
Yep, Klemenchik, who's best at the World Championships, a silver medal, looking good at the moment, and certainly for me, looking very, very strong. They're going through ahead of Kastelstedt, the first two riders through. This start here, great start by Kastelstedt, Emma, and then you could see Klemenchik really, he was just hovering and waiting. He tried a couple of moves, and in the end, Kastelstedt thought, do you know what? Let's not risk this. Yeah. I want to go through safe here. Klemenchik, though, he was all guns blazing for that finish.
And there is a fine line there. 2 riders through, 2 riders out. You just have to be in second place to qualify. Well, this is the second heat coming up, and this is an all-French heat. 4 French riders: Lorenzo Serres, Thibaut Kalhoven, Romain Corvarel, and Kylian Hompinot.
So this is going to be absolutely all about the riders in the red, white and blue here today. What a quarter-final. Just how do you choose? There's so many different agendas here amongst these riders about who wants to be aware. Serres with the best start. Hampio right behind Kalhoven, then Corvarel as they came over through the line on that start straight, now making their way around. And look at this gap that's opening up. Lorenzo Serres has been known to have those fast starts, known to have that quick kick. He's got that number 4 board on. It's the 4th fastest qualifier. The man who's immediately behind him in qualifying, Kalhoven, with that number 5 plate. He's in third wheel at the moment. He needs to move up over the top here of Hampio. He's got to get in front. It's not happening at the moment, and the 3 riders have well and truly distanced Corvarel. He's out of sight, out of mind, he's gone. This is about your leading 3, and it's about positions 2 and 3 here. Number 13 board, Kylian Hampio, currently trying to hold off the pressure that's coming. Kalhoven looking to make a move up. Massive dive down. You can see the speed that's being carried through, and now Kalhoven has moved up into that second place here. There's fractions of a second between the 3 leading riders. One should be safe, that says he can afford to lose 1 place. The man who can't afford to lose any places is Kalhoven. And Hampio, I think that early push, that early kick has cost him. Look at the gap that's opening. So at the moment, It looks like it could be a case of Eliminator S. The die is well and truly cast in this city that has got plenty of Roman history here. We are seeing some French history being written here because we're going to see it was an all-French heat here being dominated, and the two riders who are going to come through switch at the top. Interesting push into the finish. Thibaut Karlhoven is going to come in ahead of Lorenzo Serres. Serres, after going fast all the way to the second to last obstacle, takes it easy on the run in. He shot off early there. Energy
conservation, though, at the end. He put the business, he put the work in on lap number 1, was rewarded on lap number 2, and Lorenzo Serres runs in behind compatriot Thibaut Karlhoven. Those two riders qualifying. Hampio and Corvarel, the two riders going out in that heat.
Really interesting, the pacing and the speed, the way that went out. All four riders really fancied their chances there. I think Serres went out hard early. He put in that work quick. He needs a quick start, and that's what's going to happen with Perrin Gagne here, I think.
Yeah, so Kraus going in 1, Marinho in 2, Ben Luckman in 3, and Perrin Gagne in 4.
It's Perrin Gagne, multi-time world champion, the man leading the overall medal tables in the men's and women's with those 6 world championship titles so far. What can he do? He's got to really move up now. He's sitting in 4th position. I think he knows he's got one big kick, and he's going to save that to try and go right to the very front. This could make it interesting. At the moment in the front, though, this is basically a carbon copy rerun. It's like replaying the 8th finals, because our two riders in red and white are running clear here. Marinero along with Ben Luckman opening up the gap. At the moment, they are there in 1 and 2. At the moment, it's a Portuguese rider leading, and now we start to see the move coming through. They see the German coming up. Kraus, super fast, second fastest time in the time trial. He was really strong in his heat. He went through in a very, very difficult heat. He eliminated Eddie Caroly Molnar in his heat, and it shows you how strong. Coming up towards the end of lap 1, who's got something left?
Well, Portuguese rider Ricardo Marinho on the front, 10 times national champion across XCO, XCC and XCE is Marinho. He is an absolutely class rider. Ben Luckman coming through as well, but he's in 3rd, Perrin Gagne in 4th. It's Louis Kraus, the German rider, coming through into 2nd place.
And we've seen a couple of moves being made by Ben Luckman coming up those stairs into that start-finish straight. That time around, Ben Luckman looking to dive up the inside. He couldn't do it. He couldn't make it stick. And the problem he has is he's got Perrin Gagne, the most experienced man when it comes to championship rides. Now Perrin Gagne's gone round 1. He only needs to go round 1 more. The man in front, the target in his sights is Kraus, the German. At the moment, the Portuguese rider is going to be clear. Marinero is going to coast this in. If he is smart, he will use just enough energy. Now comes Perrin Gagne. What can he do here? Titouan Perrin Gagne comes on the inside. He's going to be close. They're going to be side by side. He moves into 2nd place. Leave it late, but has he left it too late? He's going to get a run. Sprint from Kraus on the side. Titouan Perrin Gagne, you are the man.
Wow, what a move from the 5 times world champion. This is his final year of racing XCE Eliminator. He's retiring. He's already announced his retirement is going to be at the French National Championships later this summer. This is his final rodeo, and what a rodeo it is going to be. Perrin Gagne and Marinho go through. Kraus and Ben Luckman go out. What a heat.
4th to 1st when it counts. It's the time when you need to go over the line. You've got to feel so sorry there for Kraus. Kraus had made the move that pushed him into contention and taken him up. Ben Luckman being moved down. A long time finisher there. Marinero leading for a long time, getting edged out there. And those are the skills you need to win. And that's just in our quarterfinals.
Well, the final quarterfinal is Zagar from Sazak, from Lind and Gegenheimer. The 4 riders lined up, 2 previous world champions in this heat, and one of them is defending.
So at the moment, you can see a lead being taken here. It is Gegenheimer who leads down in the white of Germany. Immediately behind him is the man in the blue Hulk skin suit. He is Edwin Lind, one of the guys who's got so much power. He's just got to get it all down safely on the way round. Not necessarily, of course, that suits him this, but he is a rider who knows what it is to wear those rainbow stripes. We're seeing Gegenheimer, former world champion, leading. You've got Lind right behind him now. What can the challengers do? Zagar would desperately love to change the colour of a bronze for a silver or a gold medal. It's not often that riders, when they win a medal, generally when they've won a medal, they keep winning medals, and that's what we see at the moment. Gegenheimer's stretching this out. He's got the gap. Lind holding fire. I think he's waiting for the push to come behind. What can Zagar do? Meanwhile, if they make an error, Zakas is also another rider who could come up. The moment Gegenheimer with clear distance between him and the battle behind. It's a real battle.
It is. Gegenheimer holds the most medals won by a male rider at the World Championships, but he's never won, well, he's only won a gold once. He's never repeated that feat. Lind has got work to do because he's got company. And interesting, Simon Gegenheimer has gone out hard on lap 1, a tactic used by Edvard Lind last year in Sakaria to win his World Championship title.
So Gegenheimer's total 7, being the most medals won by anybody in the championships to date. He'll be looking to improve on that. What can he do? The gap behind is stabilised, and I think this is going to come down to that last-minute push. However, there's been a change because the rider behind now, it's going to be Slovenian rider. Now it's Zagar just holding position. Then it's going to be the rider from Romania, Zakas, and you can see Lind at the moment is in all sorts of trouble. Lind is not going to go through here. We are going to see the defending champion, who is so proudly wearing those rainbow bands up to yesterday, here go out here. This is going to be a big shot. Who's going to take that second place? Gegenheimer goes through. The sprint is on for the line. I think Zagar's gone through and taken that. Zakas and defending champion Lind out.
Yes, big news here in the quarterfinals. Edvard Lind, the defending champion for the XE Eliminator, has gone out. Simon Gegenheimer and Matic Zagar go through and progress to the semi-finals. That was an all-action race. Edvard Lind, until he went into that second lap, was in position to qualify. But he's looking down at the bike there, Matt. I wonder whether he had a mechanical.
Very easy to do, particularly when you're under so much pressure. They were battling it out, and when you're surrounded by riders, you're not picking your line, you're not picking your landing. That pushes him out. As you can see, our 4 qualifiers on the left and the 4 qualifiers on the right going through. That means that they will be the riders that we're going to see in our semi-finals for the men, which will be following the women's semi-finals here in Barcelona.
Yes, they are indeed, and the women's semi-finals are coming up next. We saw those qualification rounds earlier on, and the riders now lining up. Here we go. Here is the start list. Heat 1, Adela Pernica, Madison Boissier, Margot Borrelli, and Lois Philippet. 3 French riders in heat number 1. The 4th French rider, Amandine Vidon, goes in heat 2 alongside Gaia Tormena, Didi De Vries, and Maria Sukapolova. That could be the final. That heat is so packed.
So the French putting 5 riders into the quarterfinals. They've got 4 riders into the semi-finals. They surely should be looking for a medal here today, but the problem they've got Pernica. They've got the fastest rider in that time trial, the rider who dominated in her quarterfinal here, and you can see big power coming down from Pernica, coming out here, kicks on down through behind. You can see the pressure coming on, but as they come through, Boissier with that quick start comes into 2nd position here. They know it's 2 riders through. The only thing that works to the benefit of the riders is that the French riders won't want to take each other out. It does also mean that with Pernica being such a hot favourite, they know that in theory, if they're just fighting for that position behind them, if they leave Pernica up there, they can focus on their race between themselves without taking each other out. But Pernica is under pressure here. She's not having it her own way. She might be on the front, but you can see Boissier keeping to the side there, keeping the pressure on. Just takes a little look up the inside. They say a rubbing is racing, and that front tyre of Boissier very, very close to the back wheel of Pernica going over. Pernica is going to lead them up the steps here for the first time over the wooden ramps onto that central section. Up again. 3 riders realistically in contention for the 2 places now as the gap has opened up. They're going to come through to cross the line at the end of lap 1 with Pernica leading them through. Immediately behind is Boissier, and then Borrelli with Philippet be distance now.
They are switching positions, Boissier and Borrelli, Borrelli and Boissier. The 2 French riders both of them wanting that qualification spot into the final. They don't want to have to compete in the small final 4 places, 5th through to 8th. They want a shot at the podium. And now the push comes on. Pernica loves riding out front. She really is dominating this race. Boissier glued to the wheel. Borrelli fighting hard.
Now Borrelli makes the move, comes up the inside, and that now means that Pernica is under pressure. This is where we've not really seen her being in that battle. Boissier now is going to be reinvigorated by that coming in here. Borrelli leading this out, and Pernica gets all sorts of road. She almost stalls at the top of the tabletop. Boissier is going to get a run onto the wheels here. Can she come round at the end? We know Boissier's got a great sprint on her, but can she use this? She looks down at the bike. That's not a good sign. Let's go around the right-hand side. Boissier has lost ground. That means Borrelli is going to go through. Pernica is going to hold on for second. Boissier is going to be a case of what could have been great ride by her, not to be the finals this time around.
Well, what a semi-final, the first heat. Margot Borrelli of France and Adela Pernica of Czechia going through to the final. Madison Boissier and Lois Philibert of France will go through to the small final to battle 5th through to 8th place.
2 very different rides. Borrelli coming through late on, Boissier going early. Borrelli's was the tactic that played out there to make it count.
Well, the second semi-final, Vidon of France, Tormena of Italy, De Vries of the Netherlands, and Sukapalova of the Ukraine.
2 former champions, one of which is defending. That's Sukapalova with the yellow sleeves right on the left of the riders as they come into this turn. Tormena leading this out as they go down onto the steps. The Italian multi-time world champion at the moment in the position she likes. Sukapalova will pressure behind. You can see Didi De Vries now really wanting to move up. She makes a move, goes over the top of Anadine Vidon, the French woman, being pushed down into 4th position. And De Vries now really needs to keep the pressure on Sukapalova to see if she can force an error from Sukapalova. I'm not sure she's got the power to come around Sukapalova on the straights. I think it'll be when we come into the technical sections, when it is elbow to elbow, that De Vries could come into her own here. She just got to hold it smooth now, keep the pressure on. Tormena at the moment front clear, riding smoothly, but the gap only 3 or 4 bike lengths at the most between the leader and second place. Sukapalova kicking down. She really has got the power coming out of the corner, Sukapalova, that opens the gap, and that means that De Vries doesn't get the chance to run past.
Yeah, De Vries will really, really want this, and she's being mindful of that back wheel of Sukapalova, but she's back at the moment. And if Sukapalova and Tormena push on, she's not going to close down that gap, and Didi De Vries could be going out here. Tormena and Sukapalova have got to get the bike over the line, and Didi De Vries is not out of this yet.
And when you get tired, that's when you make those mistakes. That's when those errors come in. We just saw Sukapalova not so smooth through that last wooden jump there, coming in to the parkland here, coming out and around the side. At the moment, De Vries now knows this is one of the most key sections of the course. Come past here, it's difficult for anyone to get around you. She hasn't got the power to come around Sukapalova. Palova takes a look over the right-hand side there. This is going to be close behind Tormena. Untouchable in front, barring a mistake or a major incident. Sukapalova not looking as smooth as De Vries, but she's got the raw power that is seen her in that second place, looking more and more secure, looking like it's more and more hers, that second qualifying spot. Tormena shutting down the power early is going to flatter the gap there for Sukapalova. It was bigger than that coming into the straight. They ease off De Vries. It's going to have to be another year for the rider from the Netherlands. And you can see it's going to be that small final for Vidon of France.
Yes, now Gaia Tormena of Italy, Maria Sukapalova of Ukraine going through, and I'll tell you, there is 0.3 of a second difference in the times of those 2 women's semi-finals. The final is going to be so fast and furious. Didi De Vries missing out. She really wanted that, I know. Amandine Vidon, the rider from France, also going through to the small final. The small final for 5th through to 8th place. And there we go, confirmation of those results. Margot Borrelli, Adela Pernica, Gaia Tormena and Maria Sukapalova will go through to the final to decide the podium of the 2026 Mountainbike Eliminator World Championships today. Well, before we see those races, the men's semi-final is up next. The quarterfinals didn't disappoint, and the semi-finals, well, if the women's is anything to go by, these are going to be two-class races. Kalhoven, Ceres, Klemenchek and Kassersted go in Heat 1. Perrin-Gagne, Gegenheimer, Marinero and Zagar go in Heat 2.
Really packed, each of the semi-finals, and this for me, I think you've got two very different races. This one maybe a little bit more wide open, and potentially could throw up a surprise here. Ceres has got that fast start. Kalhoven we've seen coming through towards the end, but for me, Klemenchek, the rider who wants this the most, he's in that green jersey, settles into second place coming into that right-hand turn. We saw how fast Kassersted was early on in his quarter-final coming in through. The two Frenchmen maybe need to be a little bit clever here and work together to keep Klemenchek out here. At the moment, he's leaving the door open for Kassersted. That three-way battle behind for second, third and fourth. The French riders side by side going around there, almost hooking the bike underneath each other. The Swedish rider on the front here, though, gets a clean view. Klemenchek gets the power down, closes back down on the back wheel. Will he make a move coming up the inside? I don't think Kassersted will see that line quite as easily. There's a move from the Frenchman round the outside, puts him up into two. Klemenchek down into three. So the French in second and fourth place. Kassersted leading this out at the moment. Swedish rider on the front. But this is going to be so tight as they come around this turn. Klemenchek holding the third wheel at the moment. Kalhoven holding fourth wheel. No one's giving anything on here. They're so tight, millimeters between the wheels here as they come dropping down. Kassersted holds it, and down he goes. A big fall. That was a clash of wheels, a tumble on the stairs. That is going to take one of our French riders out, and that is going to cause major upsets. It does mean the door has been opened here. It's now three riders left at the moment. At the moment, Kassersted was in the right place at the front, out of trouble behind. You can see big kick coming from Klemenchek. Klemenchek comes up over the top here. He's gone over the top of Kalhoven here. Ceres out with that crash. And now Kalhoven with work to do. He's got to try and get back in touch. Klemenchek not going to see that line easily. Neither is Kassersted. Up on to the steps they go. And look at that, Klemenchek. How much speed did he carry? How much momentum? It takes him right through to the front here. If that's a rehearsal for the finals, that's where you want to watch out for Klemenchek. Jakub Klemenchek taking the win there. Great riding by Kasper Kassersted, keeping out of trouble. The two Frenchmen clashing with Klemenchek on that descent. Lorenzo Ceres, what a surprise, not what we expected to see.
No, Lorenzo Ceres took the silver medal at the European Championships and second in the World Cup last year. A rider who's come into this season on form, and you can see that incident, that racing incident once again. Klemenchek did well to avoid that, you know. He really wants this, and today's race was all about getting into the final. Well, these four riders want to get into the final as well. Simon Gegenheimer from Germany, Ricardo Marinho from Portugal, Zagar and Perrin-Gagne are lined up as well. The Slovenian rider and the French rider in P3, P4 there as well, whilst they just hold for the start.
So they're going to hold for the start. They want to make sure that track is clear, make sure that the race line is clear, that everybody is safe. So you can just see the riders being told they're holding. Gegenheimer and Perrin-Gagne, the two former World Championship winners here. Perrin-Gagne with that massive total that he's got so far. The rider who's won the most titles. Meanwhile, you've got the rider who took third place in here. You've got Zagar in the green. And you've got effectively new boy, first real big kick out on the XCE world stage for Marinero, and this is going to really show what he's got. And this is where experience can tell. When you've got a hold, the teams just looking after our rider down there. I've got to say a massive thank you to those medic teams out there. I've been patched up by them on more than one occasion. I know you have in your racing career, Emma. But when you're on the line waiting, when there's an incident out on course, this for me, this is what tests the nerves. But Marineo, he is an experienced rider, as you say.
Hugely. 10 times Portuguese champion across XCO, XCC and XCE. And all 4 of these riders, they will have had this happen before. They will know to come down off of that level, to reset. They'll maybe use breathing techniques to actually reset themselves. They'll refocus. They'll run through the race as well, because that mental attitude and, you know, that psychological element to it as well is really important.
So that bike just sliding out there, the back wheel going effectively, then a flip over the top and a roll from Lorenzo Serres. It's tough stuff, it's tarmac, it's urban. Mountain biking going to lots of places it doesn't necessarily normally go.
Yeah, it is indeed, and you can see Simon Gegenheim has got off the bike. He's got one of the volunteers just holding his bike. He's doing some jumps in the background, that plyometrics, keeping the body warm. Yeah, City Mountain Bike is one of those events that does take mountain biking to places. We are in the heart of Barcelona, the northeastern coast of Spain. You know, the Tour de France Grand Depart is taking place here this summer as well. So cycling and Barcelona really, really joined together. You can head to citymountainbike.com for the full details of all the World Cups, of the World Championships, the European Championships and the Pro Eliminator series this year. And sign up for the newsletter whilst you're there.
And one of the great things about the City Mountain Bike, it goes into city centres, it's taking it to new people, new faces. And we're seeing that. I'm really looking forward to going into Poland for the World Cup. Gdynia is going to be out to one of our newer venues. We're going to be in Dushanbe, potentially at for the last World Cup. And that's where our World Championships are heading for 2027 as well.
It was a venue that came onto the World Cup scene last year, an absolutely brilliant venue. And it's going to be great to see the World Cup going back there again this year, but the World Championships going there next year.
So our riders just waiting at the other end. You can see the holders, the team, they're just holding the bikes. The riders will go off either into the shade. And if you do get a more prolonged wait like this, then it's about being hydrated as well, because it's not just about holding that racing high, really. It's also about that conditioning, that build-up, that warm-up. If you go into a race and you've dehydrated at all, you know there's going to be down. I think it's 2% dehydration, it's 20% performance loss. It's a huge amount. So that's one of the key things that we're seeing here. The heat and the sun, it's blazing down here in Barcelona at the moment.
Yeah, it is a bright sunny day. Not that hot in terms of temperatures, just 22, 23 degrees, but it still is important to keep that hydration going. And one of the things with the Eliminator event, you know, these are 2-minute races. But if you think about athletics, 2 minutes, that's just under 2 minutes is the 800 meters. But we are doing this, and our riders are doing it 3-4 times in an hour. So you see the sights of Barcelona from our shots that are coming, but also the physical and mental challenge for our riders, with that repeatability of that 2-minute effort being so important.
Staying focused, not being distracted, making sure that you are ready to go when the racing regime is going to be critical. In looking back through the racing, Emma, I was looking at the riders who come through. It was one of the things that I noticed that when we came through into the time trial and then into the 8th finals before we came into the quarters in the men's racing, the lower half of the race field, basically on time, were those that were eliminated in the 8th finals. And that's in all the years to do this, I think that's the first time I've actually seen it go by the form book in the time trial. That almost, it gave us a false sense of security when we've seen how close the racing is since then.
Yes, and it is a really interesting one, because the individual time trial that grids the riders essentially for the 8th finals and the quarterfinals. Normally we see riders go out and not come through those 8th finals. We often see upsets in the form book, but today, no. So it was indeed a really interesting one in terms of that happening. It doesn't normally happen, but today it has.
It certainly has. So as our teams just look after our rider, and got to say the teams across around all sorts of cycle sport, across all of the UCI disciplines. UCI, the governing body of cycle sport, Union Cycliste Internationale, governing all disciplines of cycling, from gravel to XCE, from downhill to road to the track to BMX racing. the Union Cyclist International looking after all those different disciplines, and every single one of them, the medics doing an amazing job of looking after the riders, because rubber is racing, and we do see race incidents on all types of racing. Unfortunately, most of those riders generally do get back up again, and athletes being fit and healthy people generally heal and bounce back faster than the average population, it has to be said, and generally are definitely invested in the best of care as well. So our riders just waiting for a resumption. This Commissaires team, you can just see them to the left there, all very experienced Commissaires, and there's blue t-shirts there, the UCI Commissaires. There are race referees. They basically ensure that the racing takes place under the rules, that it's all safe, that the riders follow those rules, that the course is safe, and that all the regulations are followed. But they do an amazing job out and around the globe, as do all race officials. We might not always agree with their decisions, but have to respect them for just how much work that they put in, giving up their time to make the racing happen.
Well, and how hard some of those decisions are as well, you know, and it really is. Well, as the services are now in, and the incident being sorted, the riders, you can see, just utilising that start and finish straight to stay warm and ready for that next semi-final.
So turning those legs around, really, really critical, keeping that blood moving, keeping the oxygen flowing on the way through. If whilst you are on this little break, you have your mobile device with you and it's online, don't forget, make sure that you jump on board, go on to citymountainbike.com for all of the races that are coming up. That's not just our World Cups that we'll be bringing you on the way through the season, the Mountainbike Eliminator World Championships now, and our Eliminator European Championships that are coming up in June. We've got the Pro League coming up, and that is going to be our next race. That's on the 3rd of May. And also, of course, not on TV, but we have the Continental Series. It's visiting Gibraltar, Girona, Olen, Piedrahítaga, along with Novi Sad as well. Well, the medics looking like they're going to be taking Lorenzo Serres for a checkup. Always better to get it checked, better safe than sorry. So Lorenzo Serres, we wish him all of the best. He'll fast, buddy. I know he's a real warrior and will be itching to be back on the bike. And I would say, as somebody who's bounced themselves down on a number of occasions, far too many occasions, don't try and come back too soon. Have some patience. Never my strong point when it comes to that.
Did you just say to a racer, come back, don't come back too soon, take some patience? You know, riders and racers always want to get back on the bike, and they want to get back as soon as possible. Well, our riders down on the start, still holding as we just pause racing in Barcelona for the services to take Lorenzo Serres away for a checkup.
So here at Barcelona, the amazing sights. It sounds a great place to come down and visit some amazing architecture. Lots of great events taking place in the city, not just the racing here at the Mountainbike Eliminator World Championships. It's been a regular venue for the Mountainbike World Cup as well. Don't forget, of course, that you can catch up with all of the mountain bike disciplines, as well as all the other types of bike racing on the UCI website. That's www.uci.org. You can find out all about lots of different riding, about the cycling centre teams, where they are helping developing nations with cycling development and providing some real inspirational role models who are starting to race from maybe countries that don't have the same history or infrastructure. Very, very interesting project, that part of the UCI, along with lots of work that's unseen behind the scenes, some of which we could tell you about, but we won't because it would take too long. Some of which we can't tell you about because it is there and done behind the scenes for a reason.
Well, 5 rounds of the World Cup coming up this year, starting on the 14th of June in Sakarya, Turkey. Then we head to Poland for the 27th of June. On the 11th of July, we're in Arlen in Germany, the 16th of August and the 11th of October. Currently, the final 2 rounds of the World Cup, as 15 seconds is given to our second semi-final. Simon Gegenheimer is on the line. Marinhejo, Zagar and Perrin Gagne, they are awaiting the whistle for the second semi-final today here at the UCI 2026 Eliminator World Championships.
Gegenheimer, quick kick off the line, just eases back a little bit there, letting Marinhejo going through. But you can just see Klembecha keeping a check. Sorry guys, Zagar keeping a check here on the inside as we see Gegenheimer move back over the top of the bronze medalist from last year, but it's the newest rider of the 4 on the front here. Now, are they going to leave him out there and then mug him on the last lap and take it all away from him? Are they able to do anything about him? I'm not sure that they can. That number 7 plate that didn't have been the 7th fastest rider in the time trial, he's continued that form, that pace, that speed. He's shown just why he's been a repeated Portuguese national mountain bike champion in lots of different disciplines. He's on the world stage. He's leading out the semi-final. Gegenheimer holding second wheel, keeping something back here as we see Perrin Gagné making his way up into third. What can Perrin Gagné, the Frenchman, do? You can just see Zagar's come down on the inside. They've dived left, they've dived right. Perrin Gagné is going to go down the outside, taking the wide line here, looking to cut tight back on the inside, which he does. It doesn't give him enough room, though, to move up because they've come right up behind Marinho and Gegenheimer. Now comes the move from Zakas. They're going to go into the right-hand turn. Zakas on the inside pushes Gegenheimer down into 3 at the moment. So this is going to be a push. So what can happen on the way through? Matic Zagar at the moment, second wheel. First wheel, Marinho, the rider who's in there. Gegenheimer comes up the inside. Gegenheimer's got it sideways. He came on clips. He landed it down. He's come down on the jump. He's come out. He moved up to second. That was an all-or-nothing move. It's proved to be nothing. It's left the door open. Perrin Gagné is going to make the final in a way he didn't want to because of the problems for Gegenheimer. It leaves the door open, though, because it's a clean run so far. Front of the race once again. Ricardo Marinho coming through. Could be the man to beat in this World Championships. Titouan Perrin Gagné makes another final chance to increase his historic score behind. It's not going to be a medal. Matic Zagar really just distance. That issue for Gegenheimer. Gegenheimer came into the jump. He got tangled up. He got sideways. He landed it. He came down. Gegenheimer was keeping it controlled. It was almost just controlling the race. But when we came in to that second time on that jump, it was almost desperation.
Well, we knew it was going to be such a close race between those 4 riders. On paper, there was nothing to split them. And Gegenheimer just lost his pedal as well as he came up and over that jump. And then it was gone. And Zagar, unfortunately, was also tied up in that. It allowed Perrin Gagné to come through Marinho, who has been dominant today. Let's not take anything away from Ricardo Marinho. It has been an absolute brilliant performance from him today. Titouan Perrin Gagné makes the final on his last World Championships. What a run for him. The small final and the big final are up next, and we're going to go back in with the women. It's the women's small final to look at places 5th through to 8th that is going to be up first, followed by the men. Didi de Vries, Madison Boissier, Lois Philippert and Amadine Vidon, the 4 riders in the small final for the women. What can Didi de Vries, the rider from the Netherlands, do up against the 3 French women? De Vries will want to win this, Matt.
Yes, that's kind of... I know what you mean. It's almost the world's most unnecessary statement, but yes, I think she feels that it's missing from her Palmares. She feels that she really should be up there. Very interesting. I was just taking a quick look at why I stumbled a little on the way in there. The tyre choices there. They all have a mountain bike tyre on these slicks, and that's in part because there is always a variety of surfaces, but also it's about getting the type of handling. How much lean can you get on there? How much grip do you get on the obstacles when you do hit them and land? Now, as we said off, this is for a run through into the finals. We could just see taking that to right side. The small final is go through, take the right hand turn, 5th through to 8th place. De Vries, for me, she surely thinks, I should have this. I should have been in that final. I didn't make it. She's setting this out as a run. It's a straight run. She's going to just power. You've got 2 laps left. This is it. There's no more rehearsals. There's not another chance, is there? And for me, this is where she really needs to just really put the pressure on, just keep that there. How much is a disappointment going to be there. You look at Madison Boissier, he's just come over the top here. Boissier's full of racing today. She's really set out early. She's set out hard. She's doing the same again. She faded a little bit later on in those semi-finals where she got taken out for the chance to compete for a medal. She really has progressed over the last 2 seasons. We've seen her improve and improve. And I think Boissier here has got the upward momentum probably, and that slightly upward trajectory in terms of motivation and that emotion. De Vries, I think, will be more disappointed, I think, from not making those finals. But that's what a champion does. They reset themselves and go again. At the moment, De Vries and Boissier clear at the front. Boissier leading, De Vries in 2. Immediately behind her, Vidon and Philibert coming through. The 2 remaining French riders not in the battle at the very front of this race for 5th to 8th places.
Well, there's nothing you can do about what happened in the past. You can only influence what is happening now. And Didi De Vries and Madison Boissier are going head-to-head for 5th place in the World Championships here in Barcelona, Spain. This is the Mountain Bike Eliminator World Championships for 2026, and Didi De Vries is back on the front.
So De Vries making that move, comes to the front here. She opens the gap up immediately. Boissier, one of our younger riders, just regressing, and I think that's something that's going to come with time, that ability to be up there. But the way to get quicker is to race at the front for as long as you can in these races. They're short, they're fast, they're furious, and at the moment the fastest in our women's minor final, taking 5th place, it's going to be Didi De Vries of the Netherlands. Madison Boissier of France will take away 6th place. 7th and 8th is going to come to the throw. I suspect that it's going to be, oh, look at that, 0.05. That's 0.05 of a second separating out 3rd place in that race, which is 7th place overall, Vidon, from 8th place, Philibert.
It is indeed, and what a great small final for the women. Boissier and De Vries went head-to-head. They switched the lead, but Didi De Vries came through for 5th. Madison Boissier for 6th. Amandine Vidon takes 7th, and Lois Philibert takes 8th place in the Women's World Championships. The men's small final up next. Before we head to the women's final and then the men's final to complete the racing today. Well, due to go in the small final, Thibaut Kalhoven from France, Matic Zagar from Slovenia, and Simon Gegenheimer from Germany. Those are the 3 riders who have progressed from those semi-finals into the small finals today.
And Simon Gegenheimer, this is a real good result to see him up there now. We're going to see whether or not Simon Gegenheimer does take to that line. So, because of course last week saw he was cuddling the floor, which is not
racing incident. It's
a racing incident. He's racing, rubbing his racing and trying to stay on 2 wheels, all part of this.
But that is what our commissaires are here for. They will check the footage. There are commissaires out on the course, and whether there are appeals made or whether the racing incidents take place, the commissaires do indeed. Our race referees in cycling check all those incidents.
Now the footage that you're seeing at the moment, just a quick highlights here of some of the action so far here in Barcelona, a taster of what Mountain Bike Eliminator is all about. Not everybody can make the way to a mountainside forest. You can't all have your hometown as being a world-class mountain bike venue. We're not all looking to do that. Certainly it's a long way from where I live to your nearest big mountains, maybe to a downhill or a big cross-country course. And this is a way to put mountain bikes, which so many people have right in front of people in competition, and maybe encourage some people. Looking back through the history books, you see a real who's who. Yolanda Neff, you know.
Linda Indegrand.
Van Empel.
Yes.
In there. I mean, we got Katrin Sternemann, who was on the snow bikes, if I remember correctly, taking a medal in the Snowbike Downhill World Championships just this year.
And one of the things I also love about Mountain Bike Eliminator is we often see young riders come into Eliminator, under 23s, who are out on the cross-country Olympic and short track circuit. Like Sukapalova, for example, who came into Eliminator last year. She went to the World Championships and rode the short track and the XCO for the Ukraine in the Valais last year, and had some top 25 performances in the world. But she came into Eliminator, and it is one of the places where we see younger riders getting really good world-class World Cup, World Championship level experience. And younger riders often have that explosive element. It's the endurance that comes later. Sondra Rocker, for example, as well.
Yeah, great example in the men's racing. Sondra Rocker, of a rider who starts off racing in the mountain bike eliminator, doing really well in here, and then moves onwards and takes that experience forward. So at the moment, just waiting for a decision. There has been an appeal in one of our preceding races to the commissaires, and because of that appeal, it does mean that we are on hold until the commissaire team, the race referees, have that down. The full race regulations can be found, if you want to geek out on those, at the citymountainbike.com pages, the full tech guide, etc. So you can geek away to your heart's content if you want to be, maybe you're one of those people who sits on the sofa and is a sofa commissaire. Me, I tend to be a sofa commentator, can't stop. But I have to say, they all do amazing jobs on the commissaires who are on site, and the appeal has gone in. It does mean that there's going to be a wait until we can move forward and progress with the racing here in Barcelona. The UCI 2026 Mountain Bike Eliminator World Championships, powered by City Mountain Bike, coming to you from Barcelona in the northeast of Spain. It is a city that is drenched in history, from the Vuelta in terms of cycling right the way through to the Tour de France, and of course we've got a lot of racing as well. Now, we do have a heat under review. There are question marks about what's happened to a number of the riders on the way through, so there will be some issues. We're going to just take a little bit of a check here because I suspect that the incident that is in question is the incident where Gegenheimer came out. He just gets pushed back. Nothing that I've seen here at the moment would make me worry as a commissaire on the way through here. For me, the standout performance here, the man who's got all eyes on him at the moment, it's a man in red and white. It's a man from Portugal at the moment. So very interesting the way that came together. For me, racing is there, but I'm not a commissaire, thank goodness, and we'll leave that to our experts.
This is the heat under review, though, and this is why we are holding, because the commissaires just want to check the footage. You just want to check that everybody progressing to the small final and, of course, to the final of the World Championships is in the right qualification place.
Indeed, and because of that appeal, then a review of the footage has gone to, so basically it has gone to camera review. It means that the commissaires will be checking the footage. They'll be making sure they get the right. They have commissaires out and around. It's not just at the finishing line. They have commissaires out and around the entire course. They have eyeballs on the entire course here. It's one of the great things about mountain bike eliminator courses being so short. So we will see what the commissaires decide when it comes to the decision on the way through, and whether or not we will see a reversal, and will we see a change in those riders that have qualified for the main men's final and those that have qualified for the small final. So another reason for our riders to be ready with that plan B, or is it plan C now, if there are incidents, accidents, or if there is a reason for that racing to be halted for any reason. We do see racing in most conditions. I can remember the racing happening when things were blowing away around the riders pretty much, and we were seeing gales and storms coming through all sorts of weather on the mountain bike eliminator. But the riders just, they want to race, they want to ride, they want to get that performance down, but they do need to make sure that the result is correct, particularly when it's a world championship at stake. You know, it's an incident. So coming up here, you could just see, really interesting there, lean in. I suspect it's going to be about who leant first and who leant hardest, and which was a reaction to which there between the front two riders going onto that bank. But that's purely my speculation as a commentator. Don't take anything as read. I love the fact that Emma is sitting on the fence so much she's got splinters here.
Well, do you know, I love it. Whenever I see footage of incidents like that, I look at it and I go, I am so pleased I am not a commissaire. That's all I can say. Our race referees do an amazing job of unpicking the action and what happens. And of course, the referee's decision is final. The commissaires have that finality to their decision and determine the riders who progress and who don't.
They do indeed, and it's in fact the PCP. So there's a commissaires panel, that's the CP part of it, and then there is the president of the commissaires panel, the PCP as they're known, and the PCP is the person who gets to make the final decision, and that decision has to then be respected by all the parties. If they do lodge an appeal, they have to lodge it quite quickly at the end of the racing. I think, if my memory serves me correctly, when they go over the line at the finish, they've got to lodge their complaint within 30 seconds of coming through the finish. So you can't go back, chat with your teammates and go, oh, maybe I should do. You've got to make it based on what you feel happened in that race. So that's why at the moment we're waiting, because we can't progress any further until those positions are confirmed in the men's small final and the major final, based on what happened in the semi-finals. You've seen the replays. I'm sure you've all got an opinion as to whether that was racing, as to whether there was intent, whether there was a reason why somebody went backwards or forwards. I'm sure plenty of people will be offering their opinion on that one, but the one that matters is that one of our commissaire teams.
Well, whilst that heat is under review, that second semi-final in the men's race, let's just confirm where we are in the women's race. The women's small final is complete. Didi de Vries came out on top for the Netherlands, will take 5th place today at the World Championships. Madison Boissier from France came through for 2nd. She will finish in 6th. Amandine Vidon and Lois Philibert, also from France, coming through for 3rd and 4th. With a bit of a sprint finish between those two riders, they will round out 7th and 8th place in that women's race.
So the commissaire team just requesting another look at the incident up there, and you can see what it's revolving around. We will soon find out what that decision is. It's a bit like waiting for the results at the end of a Strictly Come Dancing or Dancing with the Stars, waiting to see who is through and who's not, waiting to see who is eliminated and who isn't, all down to the commissaire. The commissaire teams are so experienced, and this is one of the things we've got to remember. They are at international races all year round. Week in, week out, the training that's provided to them, the experience that they have all coming to bear, and most of them are ex-racers as well. It's not like they don't know what racing's all about.
Well, it's looking like the riders are indeed taking to the start line. I'm just going to, before we go to the men's, let me give you the confirmation of the final in the women's race. Della Pernica from Czechia, Gaia Tolmena from Italy, Margot Borrelli from France, and Maria Sukapaleva from the Ukraine are the 4 riders who will take to the final. Just taking a look at the screen in front of me, with 15 seconds to go, it looks as though the commissaires have not overturned the situation. So on plate 11, Matic Zagar of Slovenia. The French rider on plate number 5, Thibaut Kalhoven, lines up next to him. And on plate number 14, the German rider Simon Gegenheimer is on the other side of that start barrier.
So Gegenheimer just levelling himself up here. All that experience needs to come to the fore. He's been down on the floor. He's back up again. The appeals went in. He is in this, the minor final. This is for places 5, 6 and 7 in the racing here today at the UCI 2026 Mountainbike Eliminator World Championships. 3 riders, places 6th through to 5th through to 7th at stake here. Who will be in the race, and we will soon find out. It's going to be an interesting move right here. It's Gegenheimer. We know that he's experienced. We know this isn't the first time. It's not his first rodeo by any stretch of the imagination. His first race was 2015 in Val Nord. His first World Championship medal came at altitude in Andorra. That's a long time ago, 11 years ago. He's back in now, racing in this minor final at the moment as the race is led out by Thibaut Kalhoven. Kalhoven leading in the blue and white of France. Gegenheimer in the white of Germany. 2nd wheel, 3rd wheel. Coming around Matic Zagar. Zagar, the rider who's looking to make his way around in and overtake. Maybe a little bit later in this race, just saving himself. He doesn't want to get tangled up once again. He knows that problem. He saw that happen when he was delayed by that incident at the front of his semi-final. At the moment, Carl Hoban having what is relatively the most incident-free run-through, but neither of the men's semi-finals incident-free by any stretch of the imagination. 3 riders in contention, 3 places at stake. There's less than a second separating them.
Well, as the riders come down the steps and now on to lap number 2. Carl Hoban leads this out with Gegenheimer and Zagar now pushing down on those pedals, coming up and wide past 2 of those riders. So from 3rd to 1st, Matic Zagar of Slovenia comes through and into the lead. Carl Hoban jumps onto his wheel as they now start to open the motor, open the throttle as they come in towards the second half of lap number 2.
So here we go, they're going to go over that jump, coming down around the far side here into the final wooden jump here. Gegenheimer now being distanced, the bronze medalist from last year, at the moment leading this race out, looking to take away a little bit of reward from this. He wants to get his hands in the air. Carl Hoban looks to battle back. It's going to come down to the sprint, but no problems at all. Zagar comes through in 1, Carl Hoban in 2. Gegenheimer in 3. So Gegenheimer will take away 7th place overall, Carl Hoban 6th, and Zagar will take 5th place overall here at the World Championships.
Yeah, Zagar had 2 bronze medals last year, 1 at the World Championships, 1 at the European Championships. The European Championships for 2026 is later this year in Turkey, and I'm sure he's going to be geared up for that. He's not going to be happy today, but he does indeed take 5th place at the World Championships for 2026. Well, now we head into the finals, and the women are up first. The start list is Adela Pernica from Margot Borrelli, Gaia Tormena and Maria Sukapolova. They're the 4 riders up first. Then the men. Titouan Perrin-Gagné goes for his 7th World Championship title. Ricardo Marinho and Kasper Kassersted, 2 new riders to the Eliminator family today, will go up against Jakub Klemenchek as well in that final. The World Cup winner from last year and reigning European champion. Well, the women's final have been given 15 seconds. It's Sukapolova, Tormena, Pernica and Borrelli.
So the whistle goes here at the UCI 2026 of Mountain Bike Eliminator World Championships. Defending champion in the blue and yellow of Ukraine. It's Sukapolova who goes down onto the steps in that race lead. Multi-time world champion sits on a wheel in the blue of Italy. Moves up on the right-hand side, doesn't get the gap, and an issue there. Pernica's got bike issues. I think the chain had come off on the descent. She went into that jump with speed. It didn't drop down. We will see how this moves on the way through this race. The finals here at the World Championships, defending the world champion, leading this out. The rider who's back from injury, looking to add another title. Tormena sits in 2nd wheel, 3rd wheel at the moment. The French rider looking to move up here. What can she do? Margot Borrelli at the moment looking to see what can she do. Can she get herself into a gold or silver medal position? Remember, this is for the gold, silver and bronze, and for that 4th place in the World Championships overall. And Adela Pernica, the rider from Czechia, has almost put herself down into that 4th position as Tormena moves to the front as we move into the 2nd half of the race. Tormena now where she wants to be, where she likes to be, where she races the best, out front with air between her and 2nd place, and the pressure is on Sukapolova, the defending champion, to bring this gap back down again. You just see Pernica walking back there across the middle of the field, so she's going to not to take any further part in this. She won't finish the finals as our 3 riders who are battling for medals come into the log hole.
They do indeed, and Tormena is out clear at the moment. Sukapolova pushing on. She's going to want that silver medal because she's not going to close down Tormena unless anything happens at the moment. Tormena, Sukapolova, Borrelli are the 3 riders out on course, and there's daylight between all of them. Gaia Tormena, the young Italian rider, is going to come through. She's going to swing into the finish today. She's going to head towards the banner. 6 times world champion Gaia Tormena does it again. The world champion for 2026.
Well, Maria Sukhopolova has a silver medal to a gold medal that she won last year at the World Championships. And Margot Borrelli coming through to take away a bronze medal, a third place here today in Barcelona in Spain at the UCI 2026 Mountainbike Eliminator World Championships.
Wow, what a race, Nadella Ponica. What an issue on lap one. Such a shame for a rider who was absolutely on form. But as we say, bike husbandry is part of Eliminator racing. You've got to get the entire bike over the line, and Nadella Ponica, the rider from Czechia, just in trouble today, but take nothing away from Gaia Tormena. What a race, and what a ride. Gaia Tormena taking away the gold medal and the World Championship title for 2026. The rainbow bands go back to Tormena. Maria Sukhopolova comes through for silver and second place. Margot Borrelli for third and the bronze medal. Tituin Perrin-Gagné lining up. He already has 6 World Championship titles. If he can do this, it will make 7. He has 11 French national titles and 3 European titles. Kasper Kasselstad, the rider from Sweden, one of the newer riders to XCE World Racing. Going to be great to see what he can do. He's strung together some fabulous racing, and so has this man, the Portuguese rider Ricardo Maranhão, 10 times Portugal's mountain bike champion. One to watch today. Finally, Jakub Klemenček, World Cup leader last year, European champion currently. What can he do? Can he step up and take the world title today?
We're into the final countdown. The 15-second board goes across. The riders don't know when the start will be. When that whistle goes, this is it. 1 race, 2 laps, 3 medals and 1 rainbow jersey at stake. Who will take it away? Klemenček has issues off the line. It's game over. I think that's a snap chain for Klemenček. He's out of the race in the first few pedal strokes. It's gone from 4 to 3. Echoes of the women's race here, but even earlier on, and this means it's a clean run for the medals, and it's going to come down to these 3 riders here today. Klemenček out of this, so Kasselstad, who is leading now and has led most of his races from the gun, leading out behind him, and the unbeaten man so far, Ricardo Maranhão, the man in the red and white of Portugal, just taking a little look up the inside here, just thinking about where he's going to make move. Flips from the rider's left to the right-hand side behind, waiting to pounce. The experienced statesman of the racing, Tituin Perrin-Gagné, a man who is back racing with us in his last World Championship in the XCE after winning 6 titles so far. What can he do here today? He won't be happy with a silver or a bronze medal, but he's in 3rd place at the moment. Tight right turn. What can Maranhão do? He goes wide, he's carrying pace, he's carrying speed down here. He comes wide, he's got his foot out, he goes sideways. He keeps it under control.
Well, the Swiss rider Kasselstad is now clear of Perrin-Gagné. Gagné's got some work to do. Perrin-Gagné, can he close this down? What can Kasper Kasselstad do? 2 riders left in this race.
So Sweden looking to add to the championship titles they've had with Lynn so far. Kasselstad can't relax. Here he comes. He's not behind you. Perrin-Gagné's up on the inside. They're shoulder to shoulder. Perrin-Gagné's got the inside line. He gets Bolt on the way through. Kasselstad is not being muscled out of this. Perrin-Gagné's made 1 move. He's going to throw another one. He's got nothing to lose. He comes up. He's carrying the speed. Perrin-Gagné, this is a masterclass. Never mind the apprentice. This is the master. This is the way to make it a record. 7 World Championship wins for Tituin Perrin-Gagné of France. That is how you win at World Championships.
That is a fairy tale in motion. Perrin-Gagné announced his retirement this year at the French National Championships this summer. 1 more rodeo, 1 more World Championships, and 1 more title. 7 times XCE World Champion, his first one in 2017.
And remember, Kasper Kasserstedt came across there taking the silver medal. We have got a runner on the way towards the finish, and that's the man here in the red and white of Portugal, because Ricardo Marinho has kept on going. Now, I don't know whether Jakub Klemenchik kept going from that problem with the chain or whether he stopped at the end of lap 1, but this is going to be really, really interesting. It's going to be a case of finishing, but the man who finished at the front, what a legend. Titouan Perrin-Gagné taking away the win here today in Barcelona. Absolutely delighted, and quite rightly so. His team celebrate as well as the family there. Kasper Kasserstedt, the second of our finishers, is across the line. In the background comes Ricardo Marinho. It's got to be what could have been. He came in so hot down those steps on the second lap. He went into that left and just overcooked it.
Well, the entire XCE family coming out to congratulate Titouan Perrin-Gagné, the Mario Fromberger, the German rider there, as well as the other Swedish riders in the mix. Everyone so pleased for him. He's been a star over the years, and what a way to top it. Though all I can say now, Matt, is he can't retire this summer because there's a World Cup running through to October, and we have to see the rainbow bands.
Well, I don't think I'm in any position to tell a world champion what he should or shouldn't do. This man has written the record books. He's rewritten them time and time again. He took away his first title in 2017. Titouan Perrin-Gagné taking that win. His winning run interrupted initially by Simon Gegenheimer, then Jeroen van Eck and Edwin Lind, who won last year, but once again, right at the top of the standings.
Yeah, Titouan Perrin-Gagné taking the World Championship title for 2026. Kasper Kasserstedt from Sweden taking the silver medal. Ricardo Marinho of Portugal, 10 times national champion. Well, now he takes away a bronze medal in the mountain bike eliminator.
No surprises that the family are here and looking to get a picture here of the moment in history where they saw Titouan Perrin-Gagné, a rider who lives, breathes and sleeps cycling in all its various forms, from the road to mountain bike, taking away his 7th world title. I'm not sure I'm ever going to get tired of saying his 7th world title. Now, I have to admit, at the end of last season, I thought there is Titouan Perrin-Gagné, he's done an amazing job, but can he get back? You know, I'm not sure it's even remotely possible. Not only was it possible, he absolutely nailed it. And to not panic in that race, you know, to not think, oh, this is it, it's all over. He didn't panic. Sweden, another year, another medal, not a gold this time, but Kasserstedt, he's had a great run in there. I tell you something, he's one to watch in this discipline.
Well, I'll tell you, I do hope that Kasserstedt and indeed Marinho really now take a think about their seasons and about what they're doing, because wouldn't it be wonderful to watch both of them on the World Cup circuit this year? It
certainly would. It'd be great to see them in action. I think that the future's so bright for these riders. If we look at the women, we've got Gaia Tormena taking top spot ahead of Maria Sukapolova, Margot Borrelli taking the bronze, and Della Perdica will finish in 4th place.
Yes, and we are going to go in and hear with some of our riders very, very shortly. And I think we're going to go in with Maria Sukapolova first.
Gaia Tormena, your 6th UCI world title. You did it again.
Yes, I wanted this title back so badly. After losing the World Championship, the opportunity to chase the rainbow jersey last year because of an injury, I worked so hard. And then I really, really like the track of Barcelona. And yeah, I wanted it back so badly, so I'm super happy.
Was this the hardest one, getting back from injury, hard time?
I think it is worse when you fight for the title and you have to defend it. So having not the title to defend, but to grab it back, it was, to be honest, more easy than having the title to defend. But yeah, of course, it is never easy. I worked very, very hard, and for this, I want to thank my team, the Italian National Army, and the Torelli cycling team, and most of all, my boyfriend, who sacrificed him so much to work with me for this title. So yes, the hard work paid off.
It's your 6th world title, but I saw still very much emotions on your face afterwards.
Yeah, you know, thinking back to the first World Championships I did, I was a little girl and it was hard to realize how much this title means. Now, going on with time, having more experience, you appreciate it more and more, even more. So yes, that's why I'm so emotional. More now than before, yeah.
You're still so young and you already have 6 world titles. What's your secret?
There's no secret, just enjoying the time on my bike and dreaming, and don't stop having goals in front of you, but having new goals every time.
Enjoy this one still.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, it was the world champion Gaia Tormena we've just heard from. She was 17 years old when she took her first world title. Winning is never easy, particularly when it's a world championships, and Gaia Tormena will take away the rainbow band and that gold medal for 2026. Maria Sukapolova, the defending champion, takes silver. Margot Borrelli of France, the bronze medal.
3 great riders, 3 riders up there at very different points in their careers and different levels of experience. Interesting to see Gaia Tormena for a young rider, and she's supported by the Torelli race team, who, like a lot of the road race teams, I mean, they rely on a lot of support from the cycling community as well as from sponsors, doing a great job of helping propel her and move her up through the racing. Brilliant to see that she is able to race, and Tormena taking away a top spot in the racing with Sukapolova in 2nd and Borrelli in 3rd place. And the full classification, once our commissaires have adjudicated and signed off on it, will be available at the UCI.org website. You can also find a link to all of the results from the racing on the citymountainbike.com website. So, world champion once again, Gaia Tormena in the women. She really is, I think, for what is a relatively young rider, a rider who shows that experience. She's almost, you know, she's got a similar number of rides to Titouan Perrin-Gagné, and yet she's at a very different stage in her career.
Yes, and Titouan Perrin-Gagné had to get that extra one in, didn't he? Or they'd have been equal on World Championship wins. Titouan Perrin-Gagné taking the World Championship title. Kasper Kasselstad in 2, Ricardo Marineo in 3, and Jakub Klemenchek didn't finish that race. Let's hear from Perrin-Gagné now.
Titouan, winning your last UCI World Championships. This is a fairy tale.
Yeah, it's amazing. I can't believe it. So, yeah, you asked me before the...
Come on, man! Oh, that's where you're to go!
Yeah, now it's a nice suit.
This is the best UCI World Championships of the world.
Of course, no. Before the race, you asked me what is my project, what's my aim for today, and I said, oh, okay, I will be super happy with the podium. Of course, today I had a bit of luck, especially in final with Jakob, who broke the chain, and the mate who finished 3rd, who flat tires, I think. So yeah, I had a bit of luck, but I also have the experience to take care of my material, and I know sometimes you have to slow down to be faster. Yeah, before this race, not a lot of people believe in me, so I want to say thank you to them. Rémi Lafont, Stéphane Thum, Mathieu Nadal, and my family, especially my wife. So yeah, not a lot of people, huh?
Did you still believe in yourself?
Yeah, I still believe in myself. Maybe in November I said to Stefan, okay, I want to continue because I feel I still have something in my legs. Still have one big race in my legs, and yes, I show it today.
You will say goodbye to cycling in the rainbow jersey in a couple of months.
Yeah, it's not that bad. Huh? It's not that bad. You never know when you win your last race, but yeah, maybe today I know.
I asked you before the start, what was your secret to win so many world championships now? Tell it to the people now at home.
Yeah, I said, yeah, my secret is be not confident. I'm never confident. It's always hard for me to believe in myself, and I'm always afraid about my opponent. But I think it's the secret for me to activate some things in my head and in my body to be the best version of myself for the D-Day. And so, yeah, today I show to you my secret, so you can use it for the future. I will be not there.
You said you had still one big race in the legs. Do you still have one more in the rainbow jersey?
Yeah, I will finish my career at the French Championship middle of July, so I will participate before also at the French Cup, the World Cup in Ireland. It's gonna be my last international race. So yeah, 2 nice events. French Championship gave to me a lot of things during the past, and Allen is the most beautiful eliminator race in the world. So 2 nice races to finish, and yeah. But I'm very proud of my journey.
Enjoy, man. You made history today.
Thank you.
Well, I can tell you on the 11th of July, the World Cup in Ireland, there is going to be one very big party going on because the world champion is going to retire from world-level racing at that point in time. Titouan Perrin-Gagné for 2026 takes away the World Championship title. Kasper Kassersted of Sweden takes the silver, and Riccardo Marineo, what a suite of races he put together today. He will take away the bronze. From 2017 to 2026, Titouan Perrin-Gagné has been phenomenal in the Eliminator format.
He certainly has, and Perrin-Gagné doing an amazing job. They're absolutely nailing that top spot ahead of Kasper Kassersted and Riccardo Marineo. I think it's going to be really interesting to watch how the riders who are in silver and bronze medals positions then fare as we go through the Pro League that's coming up at the start of May, going into those World Cups. We've got European Championships coming to you as well. And it's going to be a really exciting season, particularly because we've had these World Championships, as you said at the start of the show, at the very start of the season. It's turned the season on its head, and yet we're back where we would expect to be, with Gaia Tormena and Titouan Perrin-Gagné taking away multiple title wins.
Well, let's take a look at the highlights. Well, the Mountainbike Eliminator World Championships has kicked off the 2026 season in style. Congratulations to Gaia Tormena, 6 world titles. Congratulations to Titouan Perrin-Gagné, 7 world titles, and the most recent taken today in Barcelona, Spain. Join us when we return with the World Cups and the Pro Eliminator Series throughout the year to see those new world champions and, of course, those rainbow jerseys in action. Until then, enjoy your mountain biking. We will see you in May. Goodbye.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit and the coffee ain't hit yet.